Hey, Read Through the Word. Today is October 7th, and today's lesson is called Authority Over Disease and Death. As we continue through the Gospels, remember I told you last week, I think that was last week, wasn't it last week? That we talked about, alliteration, that disorder, demons, disease, and death. So we'll see that. Disorder, so nature's chaos. I like the word disorder because it was a D. I say, so disorder, demons, disease, and death. Those are the four things that we're seeing through the miracles of Jesus that he has authority over. So we're in Luke chapter 8, 51 through 56. We're looking really at let's read and we'll talk about it. It says, when they arrived at the house, Jesus wouldn't let anyone go in with him except Peter, John, James, and the little girl's father and mother. The house was filled with people weeping and wailing, but he said, "Stop the weeping. She isn't dead. She's only asleep." But the crowd laughed at him because they all knew that she had died. And then Jesus took her by her hand and said in a loud voice, "My child, get up." And at that moment, her life returned. And she immediately stood up. And then Jesus told them to give her something to eat. Her parents were overwhelmed, but Jesus insisted that they not tell anyone what had happened. So there are accounts in Matthew and Luke, parallel accounts of this that are in our reading today. I'm just reading from Luke. But you see that the account of the raising of Jairus' daughter shows Jesus actively demonstrating his divinity and kingship. Remember, he is the king. He is the king. Not just by dominating powers, not just by healing, but by dominating powers, disease, ritual impurity, and death that no human or prophet could control. The message is actually two miracles intertwined when we read this. A public healing that affirms Jesus' power, and a private resurrection that affirms Jesus' sovereignty. Jesus' identity as fully God is revealed by the nature of his power and its effect on the law. We see this with the other miracle that's intertwined. It's basically supposed to show disease and death at the same time, because he heals the woman with the issue of blood that interrupts him as he's going to Jairus' house. The woman had suffered from a flow of blood for 12 years and had spent all of her monies on doctors with no relief. I know I've mentioned that I think last year at Christmas time I started watching The Chosen. I had avoided it for so long, but if I can watch it and just appreciate it for, I read my Bible. I know it's not the Bible, but it really helps me see the human side of some of these things. And this woman, that showed me, it really helped me see her. And what it was like. She was considered ritually unclean under the Mosaic law, meaning anything that she touched also became unclean. So this forced her into total isolation. She came up behind Jesus, desperate. She's thinking, if I can just get close enough to touch him, maybe that'll help. And she touched only the border of his garment. We talked about this back when we were in the Old Testament, when I talked about the tassels. Those tassels on that were part of Mosaic law to be on the garments. That's what she touches. And instantly her hemorrhage stopped. The miracle wasn't just the healing, it was the transfer of the power from Jesus. I can imagine what that would look like. I'm not making this as a parallel. It's just something I witnessed this week. So, my doctor that I use for most of everything in my life is my chiropractor, natural health doctor. Well, life has been crazy. I've had to cancel my last 2 appointments with her, and so has my daughter. And my daughter's been having headaches recently. And so I knew she's much like me. When I had my bad concussion, I have a problem in my neck now. And so my vertebrae gets out of alignment and it hurts. And she had a concussion when she was like 3 years old. And hers is like that too. And she did not realize how bad it was. Then when they did the adjustment, she stood up and she went, whoa, whoa. And I was like, are you okay? And she was like, I didn't realize how bad I felt till right now. She said, it was instant. And the doctor's like, do you want to lay down? Because that was a big thing for you to go from you didn't realize how bad it was till all of a sudden. So I watched her and she was like, whoa, this is really... I was like, you didn't realize how bad it was until it was fixed. And I can only imagine, not that I'm saying the doctor is like Jesus, not at all, nor am I saying this is the same thing, but this is just a tiny glimpse into, I watched that and was like, wow, I cannot imagine what this was like immediately, because the miracle wasn't just the healing, but the transfer of the power from Jesus. Jesus said, somebody touched me because he felt the power. He felt it. That the power to heal flowed from Jesus. It wasn't channeled from an external source. So it showed he is fully God and fully man. He did not become unclean by her touch. Instead, the cleansing flowed from him to the woman, reversing the law's usual effect. His holiness was greater than her impurity. While Jesus is teaching the woman, the messenger arrives and was like, hey, the daughter's dead. Just slow down. You don't need to hurry back. At this moment of utter hopelessness, Jesus immediately says to Jairus, he says, do not be afraid. Only believe, and she will be made well. Only believe. It's a call to trust God. When human reason says it's too late, Jesus demonstrates his ultimate authority over the final enemy, death. When Jesus gets there, he encounters all the weeping people, the mourners, and he says, stop crying. She's not dead. She's only asleep. And the people made fun of him. They're like, nah, she's dead. And Jesus' point is for him. Death is not permanent. He has the power to call her back, just like someone can wake someone up from sleeping. Because this shows he is sovereign over life and death. So Jesus sends the mourners out, keeps only a couple of disciples there and the girl's parents. And he says, little girl, rise. And she arose immediately. Is his divine power. So you've got these two miracles that are intertwined right here. The interruption of the woman shows that Jesus is never too busy or focused on problems that are going on in the universe that are way too big to take time and listen to respond to an individual in need. All of this shows that we recognize Jesus' ultimate authority over both disease and death. So, for us to remember that when we face our own sin and despair and circumstances that seem impossible, Jesus' command remains the same. Only believe. Our faith must rest in the absolute power of Christ, who has ultimate power over everything, even death itself. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.